I think even watching it again, the bit where DiCaprio cuts his hand for real on the glass.
Oh, is it cut it for real?
Yeah, and he just keeps going with the blood pouring out. And apparently they were stunned, like even the crew and the other actors, at him with that. And when you watch that, knowing that had happened, it wasn't meant to happen, and he just kept going. I think that's quite interesting in terms of the context of certainly his performance.
Every time I watch Tarantino acting, I'm reminded how much he should not act and should stay behind the camera.
Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Flixwatcher podcast. Today I'm joined by T.A.
Hi.
Rich.
Hello.
And Helen.
Hello.
And we're going to be talking about Django Unchained. Thank you as always to the mighty people for their mighty tunes that you can hear right now. And thanks to Ben from Rockwood Audio for editing this podcast and all of our podcast episodes. Please do remember to head over to Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Pocket Casts and give us a 5-star rating and a massively glowing review. If you want to join the conversation with us on social media, we are there at Flixwatcher most places. And if you can't find us there at Flixwatcher, then we're there as Flixwatcher Pod.
Hello film fans, welcome to this episode of Flixwatcher podcast. Our guests today are T.A and Rich. Over to you please, Rich, to say hello to our listeners and tell them a little bit more about who you are and what you do, please.
Hello, we are the Middle-aged Bodcast, two best friends from Birmingham who decided that we would mark turning 40 with starting our own podcast and talking about the challenges of health and fitness, mental health, and some DIY and self-improvement through cookery and things like that, and started off chatting just amongst ourselves and then began reaching out to some fantastic guests, and it's just really been growing from there.
So mental health through cookery. Well, first of all, I thought you were going to say friends from birth, but I went to Birmingham. What is the cookery side of things? How does that play into it? Because that doesn't sound like a standard middle-aged lad podcast.
It's more just that we've never really been great chefs, and it's just been trying to actually eat a lot healthier, really. Less of the ready meals and more of just cooking things from scratch.
What, do you have a favourite meal that you guys have discovered in your journeys?
There's a running joke going on over the last few seasons about a chicken satay that T.A picked for me to cook and took me, in his words, 10 years to do.
Was it what was it called, Gusto or HelloFresh recipe?
No, it's just been one from a BBC cookbook, so from their Good Food website. So
fair play. BBC Good Food is amazing.
It's fair to say, Rich, that it went on so long that we started to have guests coming on saying, has he cooked the satay yet?
Who are you, T.A?
Okay, so I am T.A Shelano, one half of the Middle-aged Bodcast, with obviously my good friend Raging Rich, and I also am an author as well, having released my fiction thriller The Doctor's Hidden Patients last year, and I'm working on a second book. The
Doctor's Hidden Patients. Lovely. Is there a quick synopsis?
So I can sort of say it is set in 1999 in Oxford, and it follows a doctor who had been making half human, half robot hybrids in a warehouse. And following his death, his kids suffer the fallout of it and get exposed to danger from various entities trying to get their hands on said hybrid robots. So it's a sort of fast-paced thriller, playing into, I suppose, some of the current themes around tech and AI and whatnot. But yeah, that was it. And the second one I've just been doing is like a standalone sequel, which is going to be set in 2027. Be released before that, but yeah, so linking it back.
So looking into the future with your crystal ball. I'm glad you have, that's your practice run for a synopsis. So I'm going to ask you, so you'll pick Django Unchained. You tell us first of all why you chose it, and then you'll have 60 seconds in which to give the synopsis for Django Unchained, not your book.
Thank you. So I chose this. It's a film I saw at the cinema. So way back, I think at the beginning of 2013. It's a film I'd seen once since a very long time ago. So I thought it'd be a good one to revisit. And I know it's one that Rich had, I think, seen once as well. So yeah, that was my reasons for sort of revisiting it.
Okay. And the timer, 1 minute timer, starts now.
Inspired by the 1966 Italian movie Django and the 1975 movie Mandingo, as well as by real people and events, Quentin Tarantino controversially explores making a Western set in the 1850s in 2012. It's 2 hours 45 minutes of struggle, love, camaraderie and graphic violence, even by Tarantino standards, as we follow the journey of Django, played by Jamie Foxx, to be reunited with love interest Broomhilda von Schaft, played by Kerry Washington, with support from German dentist and bounty hunter Dr. King Schultz, played by Christoph Waltz, against the villainous Calvin Candie, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, assisted by Stephen, played by Samuel L. Jackson. Django Unchained is a stylish and entertaining tribute to spaghetti westerns, but isn't for the faint-hearted and the easily offended.
Very good. That was a very detailed one.
Yeah.
Very good at synopsisizing.
I hadn't actually practiced reading it out. I wrote it out a couple of times, but I hadn't practiced reading it.
Right. So you said this will be Rich's second time watching it. This is my second time watching it. The first time I saw it was at the cinema. Helen, have you watched this before and since?
So I also saw it at the cinema and I have not watched it since.
Yeah. So that's an interesting point to make straight away. So this came out how many years ago? It's like a decade ago.
2012 it came out.
So 13 years ago, none of us have watched it since. Is that going to play into our scores? Who knows? Rich, going to go to you first. Did you see it in the cinema?
I didn't know.
You didn't? Okay, when did you see it first?
I saw it, I think, probably about 5 or 6 years ago with T.A and his wife. I went round for something to eat and we had a few drinks. And
is that a kind of family film you show at dinner parties?
It's more that T.A.'s wife is a big Tarantino fan and I am constantly asked to watch many of his films because it turns out I haven't seen them, even though I have nothing against his films. It just seems that I don't tend to see them at the cinema.
I'm trying to think what, if you're at an evening do and there was a Tarantino film on, what would I choose? Because they're all probably Jackie Brown. That's probably the most fun kind of...
It's got a good soundtrack.
One. Yeah. So what do you think about it the first time and why haven't you watched it since then? Maybe it sounds like you're just not one Tarantino per one time. Seeing any Tarantino film is enough for you, it seems.
I think it's just, I find a lot of his films very similar in kind of the way they're structured. I'm probably going to annoy a lot of Tarantino fans saying that, but I just find them very similar in that respect. I didn't actually realise until rewatching this that I'd never rewatched any of his films before. I thought I had. I've seen a few of his films, but I've literally seen each of them once apart from this one.
Interesting. Helen, why have you not watched it since the cinema?
It's never been one where I've gone, oh, I really fancy watching this film about slavery that's extremely violent and 2 hours and 45 minutes long again. Yeah, I mean, I remember watching it at the cinema, the Cineworld in Wandsworth, and yeah, it's never been one that I've gone, I really, really want to watch it again.
Yeah, interesting. I think repeat viewing scores are going to be fascinating on this. How many times have you seen this before then, T.A?
So apart from the time at the cinema, I think the only other time I'd seen it is when me and my wife watched it with Rich. So I'd seen it once on the big screen and once on the small screen prior to this.
So 3 times. Interesting. Yeah, similar with Helen. I watched this. I was living in Norway at the time and I watched it at the cinema there and everyone came out raving about it and was like, really? This film? And on a rewatch, I mean, I came out not looking, I don't think I was that pleased with it as a film. On a rewatch, I was like, actually, there's some bits are better, some bits are funnier, but still ultimately like in the pantheon for me of Tarantino films. This, I've got to be honest here as well, this led me to, I haven't seen Hateful Eight. And before that, there's no reason why I wouldn't have seen any Tarantino films. But after this, I was like, I don't really, because Hateful Eight's like even longer and like even supposed to be even darker.
And more of a Western.
Yeah, so I was just like, I don't really want that. But I came back for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I quite enjoyed that, but a lot of people got challenges with that. But yeah, on this rewatch, I thought it's funnier. I love, so who plays, what's the dentist? Who plays the dentist again?
Christoph Waltz.
Christoph Waltz, of course.
In an Oscar-winning performance.
Did he win an Oscar for this as well?
He did, yeah. Best supporting.
So 2 for 2.
Yeah.
For Quentin. Well done, Quentin. I mean, Christoph Waltz is great in Tarantino films. He's been coolish in other stuff, but Tarantino pulls it out of him in the same way Tarantino pulls it out of Samuel L. Jackson, doesn't he? And it's such good fun in this. And the way he dies is just like, I couldn't help it. And and this has got quite a few of my favourite memes and GIFs, particularly of Calvin Candie, aka Leonardo DiCaprio. His smug face has been used in various different GIFs. But yeah, will I watch it again? Well, that's something for discussion for the scoring system. Yeah, Helen, your thoughts generally since then on a second viewing?
Yeah, so I was probably a little bit similar to you. Came out and went, oh, yeah, well, that was good. Not one of my favourites. God, 2012 seems such a long time ago. And I feel that maybe we're in a different place for who is the right person for telling different people's stories.
Yeah.
And I think that we had 12 Years a Slave after this. And I wonder whether he'd be able to make this now in the same way. Probably not.
I'm sure he'd still try.
He'd try. I know Spike Lee is not a massive fan of him and not a fan of how he chooses to tell certain stories. So, yeah, it was a bit of a conflicted watch. I mean, it's pretty wild because we've got kind of cartoon bloodbath violence. I mean, there is like a great level of satisfaction seeing Leonardo DiCaprio and all the other racist people being blown to bits and completely massacred. But the payoff for that is seeing some truly horrible scenes like the Mandingo fight and someone being ripped apart by dogs. And I'm not entirely sure whether that kind of payoff is where it sits with me. But then, as you said, like Christoph Waltz is really good in this. And there's something about seeing Leonardo DiCaprio as a villain, which he doesn't tend to play that much. And I think he's kind of quite interesting to see in those roles. So yeah, it's a bit of a mixed one. I also do think it's a good 45 minutes longer than it should be. And yeah, and some of the humour, I don't know, I think I just struggled a little bit more with it this time round, just because times have kind of maybe changed and the films that I choose to watch are maybe different. But yeah, it was interesting to revisit. And also the funny bits that I kind of forgot about was the little dance that the horse does at the end when he blows up the house and Jamie Foxx is on the horse and it does a little dance. I don't know why that made me laugh. And there's also a bit where...
Or like a dressage cat dance. Or...
Yeah, it just kind of does like this little hop thing. And also Fritz the horse, which is the dentist horse, whenever it gets introduced, the horse does a little hello.
Does the bow, yeah.
Yeah. Also, I'm not a massive Western fan, so to get me to watch this is a big thing. So
it has
maybe...
to be for the podcast.
Yeah. Well, Westerns generally. I've probably seen less than 10 Westerns.
TA, go back to you. Third watch, will you watch again? Will you have it at another dinner party? Sorry, I'm making it like it's fancy like tuxedo dinner party.
Yeah, this silver service and you're like, ooh.
So in answer to your first question, I came away from it a third time and probably wouldn't watch it again. So I've kind of watched it effectively in 6-year blocks, I think. So you see it at the cinema once about a dozen years ago, and then say watch it a few years ago, and then I probably looked at it and gone, no, I probably wouldn't watch it again. I'd hold back on saying it was a dinner party. I think it was just me, Rich, and my wife. It's not necessarily with the takeaways. It's not necessarily a dinner party film. What I would say is I didn't see The Hateful Eight at the cinema, but I have seen it since on the small screen. And I prefer this to The Hateful Eight. So I don't think you're missing anything in not seeing The Hateful Eight, if I'm being honest. But then my wife and I did go to see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood at the cinema, and we were not that enamoured with that. So I go a bit hit and miss with the Tarantino films, I think, as well.
Well, it sounds like you're saying miss for the last three.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked sort of the Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, and I mean, going back from Dusk Till Dawn, I know he obviously sort of is a cameo sort of actor in it, and he did the screenplay. I really liked that. So yeah, some of the other films, not so much. I did like Inglourious Bastards as well, which of course, as was pointed out, Christoph Waltz was in that and also won the best supporting actor for that as well. So yeah, just very hit and miss. So I think I'm necessarily a Tarantino fan as such. I like some of his films and not others. It's not a guarantee for me that I'll enjoy it.
I think it's the potential for Tarantino, because the potential is like astonishing and you're always hoping to relive that. And it's done good numbers, I think, until for yourself, the last three, it seems. So which Tarantino films stick in your memory the best? Which is your favourite Tarantino film? I know you've only seen each of them once. Which one, when you think Tarantino, comes to your mind?
Which one can you remember? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the one I enjoyed the most was Kill Bill Part 1.
Okay, interesting. That's one of the films. So we should say Tarantino is... we haven't done a numbers comparison with all the other directors, but he's probably our most prolifically chosen director for Flixwatcher. We haven't had Kill Bill Volume 2. We've not had Hateful Eight. And is that it?
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So if ever Kill Bill Volume 2 comes on here, or... I mean, Hateful Eight, it might be a bit of a stretch. I'll definitely be watching that 1.5 speed. How long is that? It's like 3.5 hours or something, because there was an intermission in that as well, wasn't there?
I don't know. I can check. I've seen it once. I saw it at the cinema and that finished me off, I think, 3 hours and 7 minutes.
Okay. Oh, so why was there an intermission? Because that's not that long.
I don't remember there being an intermission, but then it was a long time ago. Life has happened since then.
So Kill Bill Volume 1 is your favourite. Who was in that? Uma Thurman. So I'm just thinking about his cadre of people he tends to reuse.
Sorry, Kobe. I was just going to say, the random thing about me not being a big Tarantino fan, after watching Kill Bill Part 2, I did meet David Carradine at a Comic-Con.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, so I have actually got a signed picture of David Carradine from Kill Bill Part 2.
The 5-palm exploding heart. Oh, I love that. Love it. Kill was Bill. Bill was killed. So why Kill Bill 1 versus 2? That's a question I always ask people.
I don't know I think it was just sort of the pacing of the first one I did really enjoy. I feel like the action was well paced between the dialogue, whereas I felt with other Tarantino films that I have seen where there's a lot of action, there's a lot of dialogue beforehand. And I do agree with Helen that this is probably, for Django, 45 minutes too long. It does feel like there's additional things put in sometimes that don't need to be there, where you could just build up the action, really. And I felt like Kill Bill 2 did that a little bit as well, whereas the first one was more of the action throughout.
Well, Kill Bill 2 is more based on the kind of kung fu standards where a person goes away and trains for a while, and those tend to be a bit slower paced, but that genre, tends to be a bit slower paced, but with like a bit of payoff. So I think I'm a Kill Bill 2 guy, but I really did enjoy the rewatch of Kill Bill Volume 1 when we reviewed it here. It must have been, 6 years ago. I don't know. It was a while ago anyway.
It should have been one film, basically.
Yeah. Well, he classes it one film, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That's what he classes it as.
I would love to go and watch Kill Bill put together as one film as it was intended to be.
Which Tarantino cadre players do you like when they come on screen, Helen?
Generally?
Yeah.
I mean, I am very much a Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown person. Yeah, and Uma Thurman as well. I think she's great in it. And yeah, I really love De Niro in Jackie Brown, and then obviously Samuel L. Jackson. But yeah, I think I kind of like it, which is probably what this film is maybe missing a little bit. I'm not sure Hilda is kind of like the strong female character, that when he kind of does put those strong female characters in there, they've kind of got a lot of guts. And I think maybe that's maybe where I lean a bit more towards for my Tarantino.
Fair play. T.A., we haven't gauged your Tarantino chops. Rich said your wife's a big Tarantino fan, but what about yourself?
As that, very much hit and miss for me. There are films I really like and films I really don't. Interesting, you've mentioned Jackie Brown. I wasn't a massive fan of that, strangely.
No, it's your choice.
But Pulp Fiction, I really did like. And as I say, obviously the From Dusk Till Dawn, where he obviously did the screenplay and was sort of a bit part in it, I really liked that. Reservoir Dogs I liked. And Kill Bill 1, I quite like that as well. Again, like Rich said, very well paced. So yeah, I very much go hit and miss with him. As I say, the last couple, Hateful Eight, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, have been not so enamoured with at all, really. So it's very, very hit and miss.
Also, special shout out for True Romance, which is the best film he's done that he didn't direct.
Well, he wrote the script there, didn't he?
Yeah.
It's the same with From Dusk Till Dawn, isn't it? His friend directed it.
Yeah.
Rodriguez.
Robert Rodriguez, yeah.
Yeah.
And Tony Scott was True Romance.
Is there anything you guys want to say before we head to the scores?
Did just want to say quickly that every time I watch Tarantino acting, I'm reminded how much he should not act and should stay behind the camera, and nothing makes me groan more than him appearing on screen and about to open his mouth.
This is the first time in a while he's appeared in his films, though, isn't it?
I don't know. I try and block it out.
It was in Reservoir Dogs. It was in Pulp Fiction. Then I can't remember him being in anything else until this. I know a lot of people didn't like him. I don't really care because he's never a big feature. He might as well be another actor. There must be like a best actor and director, self-directed actor like list somewhere. Tarantino would be at the bottom of that, certainly. I wonder how high Spike Lee would be, because he did himself in a couple of films, didn't he? Like, what's that called? He played Mookie.
Do the Right Thing?
Yeah, Do the Right Thing.
He was.
I don't remember that being an electrifying.
She's Gotta Have It. That was what he's in that.
Is he?
One of the main characters in that, which I watched it and didn't realise until the end. I was like, I thought he looked familiar.
I was just saying, the only thing as well is why he's Australian it seems to be in this as well, is a bit strange. And then we've not really talked about it, but the fact that Christoph Waltz character is then a German dentist bounty hunter is never really, I don't think, explained to some degree in the film.
It was that time in America where people were just like emigrating over to just enter the new land. So there were a lot of people from Northern Europe coming over. So yeah, the Nordics, Germany, Holland, there's a lot of people over there. That's why a lot of people called Johnson, which were Johansson, for example. I'm not sure the link with Australia so much. I'm not sure fully, but hey, why not? I'm not sure how many European, like white Australians there would have been at that time either. So it does slightly confuse me in that respect, but...
It seems very out of place in the film. It just doesn't make sense at that point why that he would be.
Maybe he just wants to get blown up, because I want to write a scene where I get blown up in a film, and this is the only place I can work out how to do it. So I'm going to make it happen where I'm carrying a load of dynamite, I get shot at and I get blown up. And yeah, that's fine. That's a great scene. I'll put myself in as the actor, make myself Australian, and everything's tickety-boo.
I think the only thing I would say about this film, I think I agree, is a bit overly long. I think one of the saving graces might be some of the performances. I think again, even watching it again, the bit where DiCaprio cuts his hand for real on the glass.
Oh, is he cutting it for real?
Yeah, and he just keeps going with the blood pouring out. And apparently they were stunned, like even the crew and the other actors, at him with that. And when you watch that, knowing that had happened, it wasn't meant to happen, and he just kept going. I think that's quite interesting in terms of the context of certainly his performance. And Christoph Waltz, I think absolutely deserved it. He's the best supporting actor for this, because he really does carry this film at times, I think, in terms of his performance.
It always begs the question when someone says he totally deserved it or they totally didn't deserve it. I'd like to know who else he was up against in that year for the Oscars. But Waltz was great. I didn't know about the cut glass thing. And that begs me to think about that scene, because scenes in films tend to take weeks and months to shoot. So once he cut it, did they just have to have fake blood for the rest of the time to make sure it's consistent?
So there was a thing raised, because there's a scene later on where his hand is bandaged, which they'd obviously had to do. But there's another scene in and around that where he sort of swipes blood over her face, and there was raised, well, was that, and they went, no, that was done at a separate time or something with fake blood. So, we genuinely didn't do that. But the actual scene where he cuts it and it happens, that's exactly how it played out. It wasn't meant to, and they kept it because he just kept going. And even the other actors apparently at the end were almost applauded him, that it was just mesmerising, the way he just kind of looked at it and just stayed on and just kept going. And if you watch it back, knowing that, because the first time you watch it, I didn't know that, but when you watch that back, that certainly does add something to it. And I do think the performances of Samuel L. Jackson's obviously in an awful lot of Tarantino films.
I think he's in every one bar Reservoir Dogs in some way, shape or form, even if it's just a voice.
Yeah, he's done a lot.
I saw an interview with Samuel L. Jackson the other day, and he actually did say he talks to Tarantino a lot. And he says if he reads the scripts, because Tarantino will just show him sort of out of respect, and Samuel L. Jackson will kind of go, I'll play that guy there, and it could be a 30-second cameo, but he'll still do it just so he can be in those films.
In terms of repeatability as well, I think there's an interesting thing. You mentioned De Niro, but apparently they didn't get on. So obviously once he gets somebody he really likes, it's like, keep coming back. And if he works with you and doesn't like you, it's like, which I suppose you can understand that. But yes, Samuel L. Jackson, and I think Michael Madsen's another one who's obviously done quite a few with him, and Tim Roth. And so he does repeat people.
So I have the list of the Best Supporting Actor nominees for the 85th Academy Award. And in this list were Christoph Waltz as the winner, Django Unchained, Alan Arkin in Argo, Robert De Niro in Silver Linings Playbook, another film we've had on here, Philip Seymour Hoffman in The Master, and Tommy Lee Jones in Lincoln. And I haven't seen The Master, and I don't think any of the other ones really stand out to me.
Apart from Philip Seymour Hoffman, who should be given all the awards.
I thought he was the main character, though. Doesn't he play the Master? Well, I guess I don't.
Yeah, but he's not. Yeah, he's more of a supporting role.
Fair enough. He also won the screenplay, best writing for original screenplay, and was it there for best picture? It was there for best picture. Lost to Argo.
Did Jamie Foxx get a nom? Was that a year for him?
Best
Maybe
actor?
not.
No. Daniel Day-Lewis as Abraham Lincoln. Right, guys, let's head to the scores.
I'm Sam Clements, host of the 90 Minutes or Less Film Festival, another podcast in the Stripped Media family, a podcast that celebrates movies under 90 minutes long. Each episode, I'm joined by a special guest who selects a movie to join our prestigious lineup. Past guests have included fellow Stripped Media family members Martin and Sam from Song by Song, and Kobe from Flixwatcher, and Dave from The Wire Stripped. Search for us now on the app you're currently listening to this podcast, or join us at 90minfilmfest.com.
Welcome to our Flixwatcher scores. The scores are always out of 5. You may have decimal places if you wish, and we'll start with you, please, TA, with your recommendability.
I do think it's a film worth a watch, so I've given it 4.5.
Whoa, hefty. For the 0.5, who would you not recommend it to?
I think the only reason I dropped it down a little was probably, Rich is not his kind of film, I suppose, but probably because it is a little bit overlong. I think it could have been, a bit shorter and a bit slicker. And some of the scenes are, as we've already discussed, very, very violent and it's not always particularly necessary. So that's the only reason I kind of brought it down, because I seem to remember seeing it at the cinema at the time. And again, I know we'll come to that, but I'm going off, would I recommend it as a one-time watch? I'd go 4.5.
Rich, your score.
I actually went with a 2.5. I think it depends who you're recommending it to again.
Well, that's why it's a recommendability score.
I think realistically, I would struggle to recommend it even after the first watch, just because, as I say, with Tarantino films, although I did find that there was a comic book of Django and Zorro as a crossover, and Tarantino is interested in actually making a film with Antonio Banderas. I would probably watch that just because that would be quite a cool concept. I'd watch it just out of curiosity to see what they did with it.
I'm going to watch it, but I'm also be like, really? All the way through the film.
But yeah, 2.5 for me. I think it's going to have its fans. Obviously, it's Tarantino, but for me, it's not one of the better ones that I've seen.
Helen?
Yeah, so I had a little look on Letterboxd to see what the vibe check was for this, and the vibe check was, apart from one person who was really upset by it, everyone else was basically, it's a masterpiece, it's amazing, it's the best Tarantino. I was like, I'm pretty sure you guys just say that about all the films he made. So yeah, I think if you like Tarantino's and you like Westerns, then this is probably going to be more up your street. If you don't like Westerns and you don't like really violent films, then this is probably not for you. And if someone said to me, I've never watched a Tarantino film, give me 3 Tarantino films, this would not be in my top 3. So I'm going to give it a 3.5.
So higher than I thought you were going to go with that. I'm going for 3.16 here. Like I said at the start, when Tarantino hits, he really hits. And Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, the Kill Bills don't hit as well, Kill Bills, but if someone said, let's watch Kill Bill, I'd be like, let's watch it. Jackie Brown, let's watch it, but I'm like, let's watch it. And the last one, Inglourious Bastards, when someone chose that for this, I was like, fuck yeah, I've not seen that for ages. And that's what I want from a Tarantino film. I don't want like, how much time have I got? Hateful Eight is as well. It's a bit, you have to like reconsider what you're going to do, whether it's a real option. It's not a fuck yeah, let's watch this one. So yeah, 3.16. Repeat viewing score, TA.
I would go probably with a 3.
So, well, you've seen it the most. I wonder how that rates for other people then. Rich?
I've gone with a 2. It's the amount of times I've seen it. And also for me, I just think I wouldn't watch it again, but there are other films I would certainly not watch again before this, so yeah, it wouldn't be a 1.
That kind of makes sense in a way that also doesn't make sense. I get what you're saying. How often do you rewatch films generally?
A lot, depending upon who's in them and what they are.
So there's some people who just like literally, it's like a fundamental thing that they do not rewatch films. I'm like,
if it's a superhero movie or it stars Keanu Reeves or Emma Stone, I will probably watch it a lot.
Emma Stone, interesting. Helen, repeat viewing score.
So I'm also going to go for a 2. Likewise, I have seen it 2 times. I'm not going to watch this again. I've done on it. It's too long, and there was just some bits that were too unpleasant for me, I think.
I would go less than 1.5. I'm sure I'll watch it again. And I think the way I'll watch it again is whenever his 10th film comes out, because it was supposed to be his final film, even though I very much doubt it will be, because already that will be his 11th film, if you don't class Kill Bill 1 and 2 as one film. Something in my nerd brain will make me say, hey, go on, you need to watch some more from start to finish. And that'll probably include True Romance. It'll probably include, in fact, Grindhouse. We haven't had, what was his Grindhouse film?
Death Proof.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. We haven't had that on here.
It's all right.
So I'd probably go on some nerd, like full completion stint. So I will watch again. Probably won't be happy about it. Probably 1.5 speed. Small screen score. TA.
So I think I'd give this probably 4.3. I think it's.
I think it works well on a small screen.
I think, yeah, you don't lose that much because a lot of it, the scenes aren't for the big screen. There obviously are some of the action that is, but because again, it is quite a long film and there's a lot of sequences where it is more small screen like drama and the performances, I think it works well as a home view.
Fair. Rich?
I'd give it a 3.7. I think it works quite well on the small screen. The performances come across well from the actors. Obviously, they're fantastic actors that are involved. But also some of the way that it's shot, the soundtrack, I think that does carry over really well.
Helen?
Yeah, so I think any Tarantino really deserves to be seen on the big screen. He's not a man who makes films for Netflix. He's Tarantino. He makes it for the cinema. So,
although Once Upon a Time Hollywood 2 is going straight to Netflix, isn't it?
Just
even though he's not directing it, but Fincher is, isn't he? Is it Fincher's doing it?
Oh, I've heard about this. I don't want to hear about it anymore. It's like an April Fool's joke that's becoming a real thing.
It did generally come out on 1st of April, so everyone thought it was a laugh, but it's supposedly true.
Why is he doing that? Don't do that, Fincher. And also, watching this at the cinema would have meant that I would have been far more engaged. So I'm going to give it a 3.5 because actually Tarantino really does actually care about you watching at the cinema. And I feel that the atmosphere of watching Tarantino films in that kind of communal way is quite enjoyable. And I would always recommend that even if you've been burnt by him previously, to make the trip to go and see it at the cinema.
Yeah, I think the vistas in particular and the way Tarantino shoots, especially his last 4 or 5 films. Well, I mean, Jackie Brown, I don't think needed to necessarily watch in the cinema, apart from it's really cool to watch with other people. Reservoir Dogs, you don't need to watch in the cinema. Pulp Fiction was like, I haven't seen that in the cinema and I really want to. This, I think he obviously is going for like, guys, there's mountains, there's snowscapes, there's desertscapes. You want to watch this in the cinema. But I think, was it UTA that said, there's a lot of the interactions, the conversation scenes were the best scenes. And for me, that favourite scene was when he goes and shoots the sheriff and then says, now call the marshal. Not necessarily a cinematic scene, but that was the best. Those kind of character beats tend to be the best for Tarantino. So for that reason, small screen score, I slightly mocked you, TA, when you said 4.3. But I was like, actually, I think it does work quite well on the small screen because the better bits are on the small screen. So I'm going to go 3.9. Engagement score, TA.
I'm going to go 4.2. I think it's the performances do keep you engaged. I think Jamie Foxx and Christoph Waltz worked really well together in their scenes. And then some of the scenes, particularly with Leonardo DiCaprio and them as well, I think it's quite engaging. I think that I'd only lower it down because it is a bit long. Some of the action scenes, or some of the not so violent ones, are also quite good and quite well done. Even though some of the exploding blood scenes in the latter part are quite entertaining. But I'd go 4.2.
Rich?
I'd probably go with a 3.6. I do think, as TA said there, some of the performances do carry it through. I think that's what does bring it forward from some of the other parts of the film. I think that had you got different actors in it, it would be a lower score, but actually those performances, especially when you've got Leonardo DiCaprio, Samuel L. Jackson, Jamie Foxx and Christoph Waltz all on screen together, they do really bring it all together quite well. The last part of the film really does make it all work, I think, with the engagement.
Helen?
Yeah, so I had to watch this in 2 sittings because it's so long that I couldn't fit it all in, and I managed to get through about an hour and 45 minutes, and I was like, oh, I'm going to have to come back to this. I can't do it all in one go. So I think for that, I can only give it 3.5.
3.5. Yeah. It's just, it is long. Don't know how you cut it out, but I'm sure there'll be ways to have like a 2-hour cut to this film. Like, I'm not sure they needed to show the KKK guys being blown up, apart from the fact that he doesn't have the wagon after that scene. So that, but then he could have just carried on having his wagon, or just thought, we don't need this anymore, it's slowing us down. Let's chuck it to the side of the road. I'm going to 3.5. Fuck it. So that gives us an overall score of 3.27250. It's all right. I think it's probably... I haven't checked this. Helen maybe can confirm. I would suspect this is the lowest ranking Tarantino film on here.
It is not the lowest ranking Tarantino film. Hollywood is with 2.88, which
really?
I feel I was probably quite responsible for that one because I did not like that one. Neither the length nor the film. So sorry, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood fans. That was me. And then it's Django. Then it's Reservoir Dogs. Then it's Bastards. Then it's Pulp Fiction. Then it's Kill Bill. And Jackie Brown is currently the Flixwatcher favourite Tarantino film with the grand score of 4.03.
Wow. I don't know why it's not Pulp Fiction.
I think we all decided that we really wanted to see Pulp Fiction again in the cinema, and
that's it.
It went down on that.
That's the problem. That's the feature of our scoring system, isn't it? Because City of God, for example, everyone loved it, but we're like, I just want to watch it in the cinema. So the small screen score was knocked it down a few pegs. T.A, Rich, thank you so much for coming on. Remind us of your podcast and say goodbye to the listeners.
You can find us at Middle-aged Bodcast. We're on X or Twitter, however you want to call that, Blue Sky, Facebook, Threads, Instagram. I'm also on all the same platforms as well as T.A Shelano, obviously more LinkedIn with the writing and then linking in with Rich with the podcasting on the podcast. So
perfect. Rich, do you want to say anything else before we say sayonara?
Yeah, so the Twitter is Middle-aged Bodcast, and on Instagram it is also Middle-aged Bodcast as well, and we have a website, middleagedbodcast.co.uk.
Perfect. Thank you so much, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming on. Bye.
Bye.
Enjoyed this episode of Flixwatcher Podcast? Why not leave us a 5-star review on iTunes? You can also follow us at FlixWatcherPod on Twitter, and we're at FlixWatcher on Instagram. Thanks as always to the mighty people for their mighty, mighty tunes and Rockwood Audio's editing skills. If you're looking to get your podcast edited as sweet as this, get in touch with Rockwood, ROKK Wood Audio. Tell them Flixwatcher sent you.
You just heard a Stripped Media production.